Lil, let me know when you're ready to proceed. Is the camera ready?
We're good.
Okay. Get your Sunday best on, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, folks, good evening. We'll call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. tonight. And the first order of business is we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Have you two had a chance to look over the minutes from last month? Are we in agreement?
Yeah, I'll motion to accept as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, I signed it for you, it's all set, I'll give it to you after the meeting. Okay. Chief, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
We moved you after their two reports, so sometimes there's some stuff in there that you may want to comment on, so Neighborhood Watch is going to be after the lieutenant's report, okay? There was a little reasoning behind that, okay? Go ahead, Chief.
I just returned today from 2 weeks down south, and we've been helping with the OIC in my absence, and everything went smooth, and anything that you felt I needed to know, like there were a couple of untimely deaths, and you didn't hesitate to call, and it's great to be able to go away and know that the department's in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
While I was in Florida, I have a group of law enforcement officers from pretty much all over the country. You know how cops generally hang around with each other.
Yeah.
And some of the horror stories they tell about things that happen in their departments and to their officers. I just thank God we have the department that we have.
Yeah.
They're doing a fantastic job. Last month there was 622 calls to service. There was one reported burglary, but I don't know if it was how legitimate it was. However, Chip has developed new leads on a few unsolved burglaries. The crime lab got a new fingerprint classification machine. They started running old prints through it, and we got a couple of hits. So, and as well as he's done solving burglaries, he may even solve a couple that people may have thought slipped through the cracks. So
He did mention that last time I was in the station, that he had a lead on a cold case, really, and it's a perfect match.
Yeah. So
that's really good.
Yeah, one of them was you.
Yeah, right. On a free Billy bar, yeah, I was giving out ice cream, yeah.
That's all I have. Lieutenant Pelton pretty much ran the show, so.
Yeah, go ahead, Ray. Any questions for the chief before we move on? Okay, good, Ray.
Not too much, couple of things. You had asked me to look into that thing for that Ride PD had, the pill disposal.
Yeah, let me just tell folks, I saw in the news that the Ride Police Department is handing out bags, a small foil bag that's got some kind of chemical in it, and when you mix the drugs and seal it, it disseminates the drug completely and makes it useless. And their thing behind it was that drug use starts at home in the medicine cabinet. And therefore, if you've done your usage of this and that, you can take this bag. Now, they're handing them all for free, but go ahead, Ray. So I just want to lay out the groundwork as to why.
Yeah, we talked to
were discussing
the
it.
chief and Rye and
Yep.
found out what their reasoning and all that stuff was. They don't participate in that the drug take back program.
So
like
we
do.
have that here.
We do. Probably a lot of it's just logistics, to tell you the truth. They're pretty far out from where the collection points and stuff are. They're kind of expensive. They're little disposable bags, like you explained. It looks like a Ziploc bag made out of foil. You just put water in there, and any medication, it dissolves it and must react with some chemicals in there. And then it's safe to throw in the trash after you zip it up. You can throw in the trash can.
Yeah.
But they're expensive.
Right.
So they don't want to. The thing is, we wouldn't be able just to have them like for anyone just to take a whole bunch of them because they're $20 for 3 of them or something. But it's a great alternative if the program with DEA ever stopped. So it's a good maybe backup plan for us. Right now, the DEA doesn't charge us anything to destroy the drugs. We just have to bring them to the collection point. So we just collect them ourselves, put them in a big cardboard box. I think there's one coming up.
That's been pretty effective. I think last time it was 77 pounds.
Yeah. There's one coming up April 28th, is our next collection date, that the DEA collects the drugs the next day, and it doesn't cost us, well, I'm sure the federal government costs something, right? So, but it doesn't cost us any additional funds for the town.
So we have a drop-off box in the lobby.
Right, so I think we're gonna stick with that for now.
Yeah.
If for some reason the DEA ever stopped their program, then we could probably look at these bags as
Right.
a kind of like an alternative.
They don't have that in Rye, so that's why they're
Right.
doing that, but just so we're on recording here, correct me if I'm wrong, so anybody that's got expired drugs or leftover drugs,
bring 'em in
sickness they
anytime.
don't
Yep.
need anymore,
They can
they
bring 'em
can
here
come right
anytime.
in here in the lobby, drop it in a steel box,
Yeah,
and then we gather that up and give it to the DEA, who then disposes it for free, so it doesn't cost us $20 for 3 bags or whatever. So that's a good, we ought to stick with what we got.
Right.
Just for the folks that watch us on the YouTube, you can bring your drugs right here into the lobby and drop them in the steel box.
Yeah.
Okay,
we also did some, had another meeting with the school, a safety meeting, we have one every month. This month we got Chief Margaret Luigi from Bow came down. She's a regional instructor for this ALICE training, which is a new protocol the federal government uses on how to train teachers to be ready for any violent incidents that might occur at the school. And she's a regional instructor. I think she's really good at the instruction part. And she came and gave a little thing for the safety committee, and I believe they're gonna adopt it for all the teachers are gonna have a training at the end of the school year.
Yep.
And she would be one of the instructors. Chris Bowley's certified, and there's a guy from the fire department, I can't remember his name, but he's gonna help out too.
as you well know, the state's looking to add some funding to school security as well as homeland security, so.
Yeah.
Is the school as secure as it could possibly be at the present time from your standpoint?
It's for logistically for what it has. I guess
Yeah.
part of their proposal for this new building is to change the entire front entrance.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, some bulletproof glass.
Yeah, but we've been doing, training with them all along this whole year. It's been going actually pretty good.
Okay.
There's another drill coming up too as
We're
well.
gonna do another evacuation drill?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's important to, that's not only for the students, it's mostly for the teachers to know how to organize all those children.
Right, so that seems to be going pretty good. March 14th, we have training scheduled at the police academy. We're gonna use their use of force simulator, which is a new thing up there. It's like a 360 use of force simulator. We go up there and do some our use of force training instead of doing it here where we usually do. We'll go up there, and that should work out pretty well. So we get that this month that's our training for the month for this month. I told you about the drug take back day. There's another plan in motion now, I guess, with the town. It wants to redo all the town ordinances and codify them into get the numbers and stuff. Kind of now they're kind of like all over the place, and Melissa's going to help out with that. So when the chiefs allowed her to help out with that project and help them get it into the computer and stuff and renumbered. So that should be coming out. I would imagine it might take almost a year to do them all. There's quite a few town ordinances counting zoning and planning and all that other stuff. All those ordinances would be in there together. So that's
Yeah.
something that you guys might see that later on down the road. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that's about it. We had the training last month was Manchester Mental Health came and gave us some training and gave us some more information on everything, new thing called the CIT team, which is a crisis intervention team, which is mental health people who will come out to a scene, and we actually used them this week. Last weekend we had someone threatening to hurt themselves, and we were able to call this team, and they actually come out. Instead of us having to go to the hospital now, they'll actually come out to the doctor came right up to the scene and was able to help resolve that without us having to tie up an officer for 6 hours at the emergency room. It took us 25 minutes for him to come talk to the person.
Was it fairly timely?
They say, we'll see, they say they will be on scene within 15 minutes.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
And they worked this time.
terrific.
It was really actually pretty good.
With the
So worked out really pretty good. So that's about it for the month. It was wasn't.
They took particular interest in Chip though.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to read a letter of correspondence we got from Londonderry Police Department before you, while we're talking on your time slot. And it's back in the end of January, Officer Cashman, our K-9 officer, they had an assault that took place out in the apple orchard, I think around Max Apples there in Londonderry, and they needed assistance, and Cashman went over there with Athos and apprehended the individual, and it's a letter from the chief of Londonderry talking about the camaraderie and everything and the community support, how we went and answered them, and they'd be available to help us out in need. So it's always nice to get that kind of teamwork, so if you guys wanna read it, it's from the chief. But it has to do with that, so that's nice to get a nice letter like that. And, any questions for the lieutenant before we move on to, Mr. Grange with the neighborhood watch? Steve, how are you?
Very well. Things have been relatively quiet as usual,
Yeah.
which is always a good sign, and I did have a couple of comments from some of the members of the neighborhood watch saying that a couple of times they had called in about suspicious drive-throughs or something like that, and they actually commented about how pleased about the quick response from Auburn PD and how quick they show up and
Makes it easier now that we got 2 cruisers on the road on a shift, so, you know,
It
sometimes
seems
you're
to
way
be
down the
making a
other end
difference
over there, and you
because
had to go.
it
So
seems to be making a
it does
difference that people
assist
haven't noticed it.
in cutting down the response time.
Right, and then I also received an email from Melissa this week about the Everbridge notification system that she's been working on for a while now, and I guess it is, you know, they're getting ready to pretty much launch it, I guess. There's gonna be a little bit of training with the group leaders, I think, the first week or second week of April. It seems like all the leaders have pretty much agreed to that timeline, and then there's gonna be some training also with the officers in May, and hopefully to have it in use right around June timeframe. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
think that is what they're
Yeah.
shooting for.
But it seems like she's been putting a lot of work into it, and we're kind of looking forward to it, so
Fantastic.
see how that works out, and give some updates on that in the future.
Any new members out of the mailing that we did in the town
I
crier?
haven't received any myself, I don't know about any of the others.
Okay. I noticed last month's crier did not have,
The article already, like, she kind of produces it a month in advance, but she says she
yeah,
can't.
so, you know, what we could do is she could just make a nice, like a half-page ad and send it over to the town crier and just say every month fit it into your thing, it doesn't have to be in conjunction with our page.
Okay.
So why don't we just have her do an ad and give it to the town editor and just say every month, see to it that this is in the crier, and that'll be over and above, and does not have to be on the same page as when Melissa does the police page, or, if she does that, or do you do that?
She does, but I'll talk to Kathy.
Yeah,
about the
okay,
town hall to see
all
what
right,
they
so
want.
just do it every month, okay?
You know what
And-
we could do also is I know like when we have the, was it chili thing contest or something like that? People that show up for that, print some of those things out, hand them
Yeah.
out, let people sign up
Oh,
right there.
definitely.
Because unless, they don't really think about it unless the thing's thrown right out in front of them and then they say, hey, it's.
Just say you got a lot of new people in town,
Right.
and,
I don't know
so,
if you want to consider the elections, I know we've done that in the past where some.
I think it'd be an awesome idea, if it's appropriate, I think, why not?
All right, let's see if we can get someone to man a table maybe with some
yeah,
pamphlets.
in the lobby there or something, yeah.
Okay.
Any questions for Steve? All right, old business, so where are we at with the old budget figures? Has Adele
She
Um,
didn't- No,
tuned them up at all, or?
no, and she's almost there, but
Okay.
she's doing 2 jobs, so it's not an easy task right now, because with Kate not there.
Yes.
So she's kind of forced to do Kate's job and
Yeah,
update things. She had thought she'd have it to me this week, but she didn't, so these are still the
so
big 2.
it still shows a $79,000.
It's
with
roughly that, it's in and
It's
around,
gonna be less than that,
Yeah.
when she's all done charging the right expenses.
not huge numbers, but
Yeah, okay.
I don't think we need to see them again. They're not gonna change.
No, what are they gonna charge, you know, 5,000-6,000?
Next month we'll be starting.
Yeah, we'll be starting
and
next
then
week.
once they
Yeah,
go
so,
through, I'll have the new figures.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, we had a sore agenda tonight, I'll tell you that. So if the, Ray, if the budget passes and we're gonna start looking for a full-time officer,
Yep.
Sorry.
So, right,
Kevin reminded me.
after, if the budget does pass, right, we're just gonna probably start looking for, to get somebody to
already
apply. We
certified.
already have some applications, we'd start looking through some of the
Okay.
people we already
Yeah.
applied, and probably advertise it in, probably, I think we did the police academy last time,
Yeah.
and municipal association or something.
Looking to
So we'll
start
start
around the
doing
end
that.
of mid-June, end of June, July area.
Yeah. We also, we're gonna do our pistol training pretty soon, so we'll have all the new pistols out there. we might again now, later on in the year, just to give you guys a heads up, is look at maybe the lawn guns next year. We kinda have a hodgepodge of different make and models of our lawn guns, and we might wanna try to make them all the same. But
It'd be easier for the officers to handle.
Right, but it'd be a similar thing like with the pistols, we could get a big change for the trade-ins, so really, the overall cost, we'd have to look into it.
How many long guns? We've obviously got more
I
than
think, I
pistols.
wanna say we have 7 or 8.
Oh, 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, that might, you might see, that might be later on down the year, just
Yeah,
kinda
well,
have
we
a-
should work on that, cause that takes time and
Right,
get a price on the what we're gonna get for trade-in value.
Exactly, right.
One weapon, all the same type of
right, same lights and everything,
equipment on them, so that they're well trained with it.
right.
Good. Any questions from anybody on the new business? Cause I have to tell you, this is gonna be a short meeting.
You still have that to do.
So we have one, yeah, why don't we take care of this?
I've seen it, I'm all set.
Okay.
Have you?
I've seen it.
Yep, we've all signed it, so I'll just entertain a motion on that, please. We have
I'll make a
one
motion,
review.
for Kevin Cashman to go from labor grade 11, step 12 to a step 13 on the review.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. And no questions from the audience, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:18.
So moved.
Okay. Adjourn.